Life is so busy. If you blink, you can miss something amazing. It's important to take a moment and enjoy what we have and the people around us. I'm Mo Hagan, Chief Operating Officer for canfitpro, and welcome to A Moment with Mo, a podcast where I will welcome some incredible guests to talk fitness and nutrition, mindset and self-empowerment, setting our goals into action, and much, much more. Now let's get chatting. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode, A Moment with Mo, hosted by yours truly, Mo Hagan. And I am so excited for this conversation today. Each episode is different and dynamic, and it really is because of the guests who bring their authentic stories and insightful advice and experiences. So you're in for a true treat today. Now, for those who've been following my podcasts, it really is around a similar theme, having really insightful discussions on health, wellness, personal and professional growth and development. And I really think about how I can assist you in your personal and professional growth and development, and also, align all of that with your purpose around serving the world in your way, in the most healthy and well way that you can. And I want to share just a quick backstory because the power of stories is really what helps us tap into our true purpose. For many years, I've always been on this trajectory of inspiring people to move forward on their health, their fitness, their business, their reason for existing. It was only a decade ago where I came across the opportunity to work with a great coach. And that coach taught me about what my why was, how to articulate that statement. But really, that statement stands for not what you do, but who you are as a person and how you really can be authentic in aligning your actions with what truly serves you in your life. And that's really known as knowing your why, world helped by you. And in knowing my why, in how I contribute through the work that I do in the fitness space, in the health and wellness space, it allows me to really reflect on the actions and the work that I do and the impact that it has. And all of that to say the most important thing is that when you know your why, then your purpose and your passion that you bring every day to the work that you do is authentic and in alignment with who you really are. And that's how we can show up as our best selves. So that's the reason why I decided to do a podcast, A Moment with Mo and friends, so that we could have these insightful conversations with those who are, courageous and authentic and willing to share their stories. And through that, embark upon that conversation to impart lessons and advice. And I can't think of a better person to do that than an incredible Canadian and an incredible role model in the fitness, wellness, motivational space, and a really unique individual. Let me introduce you to Yvette Raposo. Hi, Yvette. It's
Hi.
So wonderful to have you here. I was so blessed to introduce and host Yvette at one of canfitpro's Aspire's online education events not too long ago. And I was so captivated by your fighter's creed and your purpose in the work that you do. I was also inspired by your background as a champion boxer, award-winning speaker, and Canada's first female professional ring announcer. And Yvette's goal is to inspire people every day to develop their own personal stories in any way. As soon as I heard that, Yvette, I thought, in any way, how intriguing is that? And of course, that's why that you are the coach and the award-winning, 2023 award-winning Women's Empowerment recipient under the mentorship category. So everyone, you have in front of you today an incredible coach that's going to share with us amazing insights. And let's give Yvette a warm welcome. If you're hearing it, clap. If you're seeing it, clap. And otherwise, like us on this podcast, wherever you're capturing it or listening or watching it from, because we'd love your feedback. And again, welcome, Yvette.
Thank you so much, Mo. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. I appreciate your kind words. And it's an honor to be introduced by you and be on your podcast because I've been following your career for decades.
Well, thank you. And you celebrated your recent award the year that you celebrated your 25th year in the fitness industry just last year. So we both got this big milestone of celebration under our belts, and it must feel great to receive not just the recognition, but it is edification of what you do matters and impacts the world. So when you did receive your award, the Women's Empowerment Award under the mentorship category, what was your first response, or what was your first thought being recognized in such an incredible way?
My first response was, we did it. Whoever we are, me, my team, my family, my friends, everybody who has been along on this journey with me. And I say in my keynote speech, it takes a team to build a champion. That's one of my keynote titles, because I think it's just so important to reinforce that the boxer might look alone inside the ring, but those of us inside the ring very well know that there's a whole team of people that help to prepare us, to put us in there. So it was elation was the feeling that evening. My mom and my sister had come in from Quebec for the weekend for the event. And to be honest, I went in to win it. I really put my intentions into it, and I was really feeling aligned with the event. And so it was a feeling of elation.
I love that word. I love that word. You have such a vocabulary of in very authentic but inspiring words that you choose intentionally to use to really captivate your audience. I witnessed that hosting you, and you delivered the general session in our Aspires Women's Health and Fitness event. And I knew that when we selected you, you would deliver, but boy, did you ever. And you always mention, I love this. You say that your journey within the fitness, combat sport, and speaking industries has been as diverse and as exciting as a boxing match itself. I love how you articulate just the exciting life that you lead, and that you go in every time with that mindset. And you mentioned also, and maybe we can touch on this, but you mentioned that boxing isn't this sort of aggressive sport, it's a dance. And it is athleticism, and it is mind and body. So I'm gonna ask you some questions around that. But before I do, I wanted just to share with our audience today something that captivated me. I've known about you for a long time, and I've just had the opportunity to work with you in the last while. And so we've been exchanging emails, and I love your signature line. Think about this, everyone. Sometimes we just put our name and we sign off. But what about the power of that signature line and how you leave either the first impression or the last impression? So last evening, I emailed Yvette just to confirm we're having a date today. And your signature line actually popped up in front of my face, and it says, "In your corner, on your side." I didn't even feel like I needed to respond to you. I just knew that you were in my corner and on my side, and we were ready to go. But it's super powerful. And, I think about my signature lines a lot lately, because I've lost my signature lines a number of times in the past couple of weeks due to some technology challenges. And I was kind of thinking, oh, do I bother? And you just reminded me how important your signature is and the line that aligns with your name. So, on that note, you want to share how you came up with your signature line?
Yeah, thanks for asking, Mo. That's a really special question for me to answer because, funny enough, that I came across that signature line probably 20 years ago. Because, as it turns out, for so many years, so for those people who don't know, your audience and your listeners, I came in. I am a decades-long canfitpro member myself. I've been a personal trainer for over 20 years, but I very quickly, as well as being a personal trainer, I also teach boxing because I got into boxing, I competed in boxing, and I found my magic through boxing and my message. And so I specialized in teaching boxing for fitness as well as personal training. So when it came to my tagline, before it was a signature, I thought, well, I'm in your corner because that's the boxing part of what I do. And then I'm also on your side, because that's how I stand when I'm training you as your personal trainer. So I was trying to encompass both roles. And I played around with it for years, and I just kept getting feedback that it really resonated with people, and that's similar to what you're saying. And so it stuck. And as much as I've been playing around with my branding, and now that I'm getting into speaking, public speaking, keynote speaking, coaching, the signature line still works. It still sticks. So I'm keeping it.
Good for you. Isn't it amazing? Sometimes we come across, we're all a work in progress, and we're all like fine art. We just get better over time. And sometimes the masterpiece is created early in our journey, and we think we always have to change it because we need to keep changing it to be better, but we're already great enough. And yeah, I think don't break what's not broken. But I love how you brought it together between your avatar as a champion boxer and as a professional personal trainer, and you just align the two. Thank you for sharing that, because now that you have it, absolutely makes sense that it aligns perfectly with how you serve the world. So keep that in mind, everyone, and maybe take a look at your signature line and make sure it aligns authentically with who you are. I was going to say what you do, but it's not about that. It's about who you are and how you choose to serve the world and want to let the world know exactly who you are. So Yvette, you did mention canfitpro, so I'm going to take full liberty to go there, and sort of ask you a little bit about what you'll be doing this summer at canfitpro Global. But before I do, for those who haven't had the honor of meeting you before or learning about your professional journey through boxing, and of course, as Canada's first female ring announcer, or the sport, you correct me there. How has your experience in fitness and combat sport together, how has it shaped you as a leader and as the motivational speaker you are today?
In so many ways. And again, without realizing it, I was developing confidence as a speaker. The speaker that I am today stems from all of those years teaching fitness classes, boxing classes. And there's also that element of communication that it helped me develop over time, because as a trainer and as a group instructor, you're trying to meet your clients where they are at. You're trying to provide an experience for your students within a group setting where you're meeting them where they are at, not only physically, but in how they process information and how you can communicate that information so that it lands the way that they need it to land. And especially with teaching boxing, there's also a lot of other emotional attachments that come with coming into the boxing gym, hitting a bag. There's some people have different emotions around that, so they're processing that all in the meantime. So as a leader, I'm very much able to build rapport with people very quickly because of my experience in the fitness industry.
Fabulous. And that is so key today. It's not what you know. It's not, how many years of experience you've been doing the work, but the ability to build rapport, because how would you be able to translate that knowledge and help people feel confident and therefore trust you if you haven't built that rapport? So I love how you brought it all to one, and how what you've learned in your decades in boxing and fitness are now serving you as a leader. And I totally agree with you. People ask me a lot, how did you become a speaker and a leader? Did you get an MBA? Did you go to school for business? I'm like, no. What I've learned in the boardroom, I learned in the gym. And I brought those experiences, built the confidence in myself, and also the posture in, showing up as myself, and then using my natural skills to build relationships. So, rapport and relationships. And from there, you can then trade knowledge. It doesn't have to be one-sided. You can trade the knowledge and then build your position within that team as it works in that for that team. And that may change throughout your life, right? But you still bring the skill set along and the experience, but that confidence, and that comes, as you said, from just bringing things together and learning. It's like a cocktail in a way. And that's what makes us all unique. When you agree?
Absolutely. And even growing up, I was an introvert. I wasn't that person in the classroom who was shooting my hand up in the air to answer the question. So it's kind of interesting that I ended up here. But in a way, that just goes to show the power of passion that I know that you have as well, Mo, and a lot of us in this industry have. It's, the passion helped me get past that, the introvert part of myself, and it's like somebody has to do it, right? And here I am.
Yeah.
I'm here to motivate. I'm here to guide people through their fitness journey. Well, somebody has to do it.
Oh, wow. I chuckled because I absolutely relate. In school, I was always afraid to put my hand up because I always was afraid I didn't know the answer. And I didn't want to, you know, in front of my friends, most importantly, not look like I was smart enough to be in that room. And now I think, wow, how far I've come, because now it's the confidence I've built over the years, and people want to hear your authentic truth, and it doesn't always have to be right or wrong. It just is yours. So something we have in common for sure. Now I'm really intrigued about being the first female professional ring announcer. What did it take to accomplish that? And were there challenges that you had to overcome? And if there were, I'd love you to share. And then how did you remain committed and authentic and motivated in pursuit of this goal, especially if you did face challenges? And I'm suspecting you might have, being a female in this sport.
Yes, there were challenges along the way. So for some background, I did compete in the early 2000s. So for 3-4 years, I was competing in boxing. And at the time, there was not a lot of opportunity for women, even as competitors. Women's boxing we were not invited into the Olympics yet, not until 2012. So at the time, my choices were limited in how I wanted to take this career. So I decided to retire in 2003, choosing not to go professional after all, and I wanted to share this message with the world, with my clients, as a trainer, as an instructor. And I went on for many years doing that. And that became my business. I like to say boxing became my business, my boyfriend, and my baby for many, many years.
Mm-hmm.
And years later, I ran into an old colleague of mine, an old coach of mine, who we started talking and catching up. And he said, "What are you up to these days?" And I said, "Well, I'm still teaching." And he basically invited me to be his ring announcer at his next show. And I thought, wow. He said, "Listen, you're obviously still passionate about the sport. You know the sport, and you're doing good work within the sport. Why not?" I said, "Okay, why not? Let's go." So that that continued for a few years at the amateur level. So what I had going for me was that I had good stage presence. Like I was very comfortable in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
That was not a problem at all. But I had to learn some of the challenges that I encountered were public speaking. So although I had, the confidence and the communication from teaching classes, this was very different because I'm speaking in front of a crowd. There's a very particular cadence and pace and pitch and tone that you use as a ring announcer. So I had to find my own personal tone and pitch and delivery. And that came with I was more nervous to practice to stand inside the ring as a ring announcer than I ever was to actually compete when somebody was trained to take my head off.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So the transition was easy because I was very passionate and I was very aware at that time of the importance of what I was doing. And there was a few years into the amateurs where people started to take notice of what I was doing. And then the pro level started to take notice. And I was invited to have my first pro show. That was back in 2018. So the challenges really up to that point, there was some snickering and there was some, side remarks being made about how I got myself in there. Keep in mind, there were some people in the industry, in the sport, because I backed off from the competitive arena. There were a lot of people who didn't know about me. They didn't know that I had competed 15 years ago, 20 years ago at that point. So people were like, who's this chick? Where's she coming from? Who does she think she is? Where did she come
Hmm.
from? So I just stayed quiet in the background, showed up and did my thing. And basically, just like I say, just like we say in boxing, show them with your hands, show them what you know with your performance. You don't need to tell people what you know. You just need to show them with your performance. And that's what I did.
Oh, best advice ever. It's again, you don't show them with, your hand. Like you've got to really just show them with what you can do and they then will judge. And you do what is, your strength, and have the courage to withstand the negative hearsay, or as I refer to it as the naysayers and the dream stealers. In fact, I find them empowering. I find when people challenge me, it kind of gets my mojo going. I don't know about you. When you face, perhaps I could ask you, was there ever an opponent in the ring that you faced that you were most sort of threatened by pre fight, but then that gave you more energy or motivation to peak your performance in the moment?
Yes, this is actually, again, one of my points, one of my concepts in my keynote speech that I speak to. So I do corporate talks and I speak to corporate and I do team building and I speak to performance. I do motivational speaking and depending on the audience and the crowd and the theme. But one of the stories I tell is about, happened to be my last fight. I didn't know it at the time. And this girl, so I was the underdog and I was not supposed to win this fight. She was bigger than me, faster than me, way more experienced than me. She was the junior national champion. She had way more fights than me, more experience. And leading up to the fight that evening, we were the co-main event. So we had to endure the whole evening in the back. She was circling around me like a vulture, taunting me, just like overly confident, very cocky, trying to intimidate me. And, during that time, was a really good time for me to practice that grounding myself and trusting. And this is one of the key points that I talk about in my keynote speech is when you're about to step through those ropes and you're about to face that opponent, whoever that is, whether it's a challenge in life, whether it's you're applying for a job and you're going in for a promotion and you're having a difficult conversation, when you're stepping through those ropes, trust your training, trust what you know, trust that you've prepared for this. And that's what was reinforced for me when she was trying to intimidate me. I really zoned in and just said, it doesn't matter what she does. All that matters is what I know and what I'm capable of. And I won the fight.
Wow. 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 That's just like a mic drop. I don't even know I think that says it all. Trust your training, friends. Trust what you know, and don't let those around you change how you feel. That's easier said than done. So that's where the training, not on the day, but for years before. And I think that's a great segue, that because we're also in this space in an industry where we really, in the role that we're in today, mutually, we both are here to inspire and move people forward in their own personal, professional development, whether that's with their business or with their careers or with their lives in general, how to be just a better version of themselves. And, I often speak to people because of the work that I do about the importance of working on yourself so you feel empowered to share your story with the world, because your story matters. And also to continue to work on yourself so that you can continue to build not just the hard skills, but the soft skills, the empathy and the authenticity and the caring and the rapport building skills. Your goal is to inspire people every day to develop their own personal stories, and you do that in any way. I'd love you to expand on what you mean by that and how do you do that?
So I was always fascinated by athletes' biographies. As a young girl, I would obsessively sit in front of the TV and watch that show called Beyond the Glory, TSN, Beyond the Glory.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So even from a young age, I was very aware that these people's stories inspired me, and not only inspired me, but they helped me to understand myself more because I can see myself in the story, or I can reflect on whatever lessons they were learning. It was something that I could take with myself. So, um, fast forward, I practice when I was competing in boxing. I needed an outlet of sorts because competition training is so intense and requires such focus and determination and really isolation, lots of isolation. Before I got into boxing, actually, I did a bodybuilding competition, an all natural show back in the year 2000. There were 5 of us women,
Mm.
2000, and it was one category, one weight class. And as I happened to choose 2 sports or 2 activities that are very isolating. So I started to write poetry, and that was my way of processing and reflecting through through my own thoughts. And so this storytelling element followed me my whole life. And so I thought, well, there's something here. Let's tap into the power of storytelling. And I competed at a speaker slam, which is a storytelling competition about 6 or 7 years ago. And it was an amazing experience where I really got to sit with my story and understand it, not just because we know our story, at least we think we know our story.
Mm.
And that's what surprised me, because until I had to sit with it and ask myself, what did I learn about this? What did I take from this? Why did this happen the way it happened? I realized when you talk, Mo, about personal development, everything we have, everything that we need to learn is really within us. We don't need to
Yes.
be reading books necessarily, right? We just really need to be asking ourselves. I think that's at least where we can start. And I'm so passionate about personal development. And I truly believe that we can heal the world by healing one person. If we all, individuals, started on that journey of self discovery and personal development, it does make a difference in the whole wide world. So, the impact of storytelling, it's also one of the oldest forms of communication, and we can make stories relatable. So, this is also a way in the world that we are living in right now, more than ever, we need stories to connect us.
Oh, absolutely. And you're right. It when you think back, it is the storytelling that is how people communicated and built rapport with each other, similarities and differences, and therefore respect. And I actually didn't even think of it that way, but you're absolutely bang on. And I also thought back to you said so poignantly about we have the knowledge of who we are and our own story within us, but we need to ask those questions. I always found it hard to find the right questions to ask to draw out that story within myself. And that's why I went to a coach to help me do that. And of course, Speaker Slam provides you that opportunity to sit with yourself and find your story, extract it, and tell it in a way that gives you a platform as well as a platform to share that. For those who don't know anything about Speaker Slam, Google it. It's phenomenal. It's a fantastic way. And I've observed, haven't yet participated myself, but have observed how people have gone from desiring to be a speaker to becoming an amazing keynote speaker today through an experience like what you had. So thank you for sharing that. I hope that's inspiring to some of you who are still sitting with your story, wondering, oh, well, how do I tell it? And why do I tell it? Well, we need to tell our story for the pure sake of communicating with the world, but also to empower ourselves to continue to evolve our story through our lived experiences. That was amazing, and I understand that now that you had that experience, you want to help heal the world by helping heal each person through helping them find and tell their own story.
Yeah, and understand themselves, right?
Mm.
It's a very empowering place to be when you can understand why you are the way you are. And even in fitness, Mo, we do this all the time, and people come to us with their fitness goals. Or is it their fitness goals, or is it or is it from the magazines or the internet or from their doctor or their family or their friends, their peers, where they think that they want to strive for this body that they're looking for, or they're striving for the body that they had 25 years ago, but their body has changed. They're at a different age and a different stage, and that has become part of your story. So when you can sit with yourself and understand, well, why do I want to have the body that I was when I was 21 years old? Do I actually really want that?
Yeah.
And it's quite liberating, actually, when you realize I can change along with as life changes, I can change. I could roll with the punches with life.
Roll with the punches with life. Well said. um, I want to, I'd love to jump to your presentation coming up at canfitpro Global, because you are a featured presenter with us this August 9th and 10th, and that is at the in-person event. I'd love you to take the opportunity to tell our audience about your session at canfitpro Global and who you desire to have attend your session. What audience would best benefit from your session? And I'm trying to help all those that are coming to the conference navigate our incredible, powerful lineup of speakers and sessions. So this is your opportunity to share and help coach those that are looking to align with their goals, how you will be able to serve them.
And thank you for this opportunity to speak about what I'm speaking about in August. My session is on the Saturday at noon, and it is a lecture, and it is titled Avoid Burnout by Thinking Like a Champion. And what I mean by that is, in boxing, we as athletes, our energy is very precious, and we know very well that our peak performance is what's going to carry us through the fight. So we train to go the distance. And as a trainer myself for over 20 years, I've had my own bouts with burnout, 2 severe burnouts. You think I would have learned from the first one. So I am very, very passionate about this topic, and I'm going to impart different concepts from the boxing ring. So it's going to be very fun. It's going to be a very unique perspective on an issue that a lot of us are facing. Dare I say, all of us are facing. All of us, not only because as fitness trainers, we're present, we're in your face, whether it's even virtual or in person, but all of us are dealing with the fast pace of technology that is just getting faster and faster. And I do believe that it is contributing to burnout levels. So I'm going to bring references in from the boxing ring to give you a fresh perspective and really, really motivate and inspire you to think differently immediately. You will never think the same about your output versus input. And I want to help new trainers and veteran trainers. I want to help them. So everyone is welcome into this session who wants to maximize on their peak performance while having a work-life balance.
Oh, fantastic. And I'm going to take this opportunity to let Yvette know that we intentionally selected your session, my friend, to complement our opening keynote address, which was overcoming burnout and how to sustain peak performance in the future of work by Hamza Khan. He is our opening keynote speaker. And we thought it'd be so perfect that he opens on Friday. And then we bring you in on Saturday to do the workout, like the actual skill application, because we know that that's what you do. So everybody, you just heard that here. Burnout is amongst us all. I heard something last week speaking to a group of club owners and operators, and one of the leaders in the industry, who's our international speaker coming in from the US, he said, if you survived the fitness industry leader specifically, if you survived the pandemic, you're a great leader. Because to survive the pandemic the way that especially Canada and Ontario did, as an owner, operator, leader of business or people, you're a great leader. However, we are thinking now we're over it. We are now thriving. We're not, because the large majority of us are experiencing some degree of burnout post-pandemic, because we spent 2-3 years fighting, trying to survive. And now we think we can just thrive. Well, there's the gap between that. And that's what you're going to help us with. So this is an incredible opportunity, my friends, for all of you, whether you're in the fitness industry, listening to this podcast, or outside the fitness industry. Canfitpro.com, Canfitpro Global, which I'll give you the website for at the end, is available to everyone. So I hope that you will be intrigued to catch Yvette's session and join us this year. Yvette, you told us what you're excited to share. What are you most excited about as far as attending a conference like canfitpro Global? What's your favorite part, or what is it that always sort of inspires you the most when you come and you experience and then you go and you leave? And tell us a little bit about your experiences at these sorts of incredible events.
Well, I am a lifelong learner. I'm a very curious person. I'm always curious, and I've seen some amazing and heard some amazing presenters over the years at CanFitPro. I do try to attend every single year. I do live in Toronto, so I'm very lucky that way, very fortunate that I have proximity to the conference. And I'm always curious how, you hear some ideas, you hear themes and some ideas being recycled. However, it's always interesting to hear how one person presents an idea differently than another person. That's always so fascinating to me. And sometimes it's like reading a book where you can finish reading a book, but yet that one chapter didn't quite land, and you read it again or watch a movie for the second time and you pick out something different that you didn't notice the first time. So I also love, of course, the vibe at CanFitPro, the people. I love the fresh energy. I love the excitement that's coming in. You have people coming in from all over, so you get to hear about what's happening in their communities and their style of training. There's just so much. And what I would say, especially to new trainers who have never been to the conference yet, I'm excited for you because it's an exciting weekend to enjoy and absorb and take in. I would say go in, and this is obvious advice, but I think it's important to remember because this is what we do for our clients. Be hydrated, be well fed, bring your snacks, be well rested, and show up open. We don't know it all. Show up open and ready for impact, ready to be impacted or ready to learn what you need to learn. Take what you need from this conference, and also just be curious about who you're going to meet, because you never know. You might just meet your next business or life partner.
Oh, you are so right. You just never know who you're going to meet, whether they're sitting beside you or they tap you from behind or they meet you in the hallway. It's like you go to learn and, feed your mind and feed your career with all the knowledge, but it is the people you meet. And we've been able to do that to some degree with virtual events, but nothing replaces that in-person experience, just like in the gym. So thank you for sharing all that. And I love your advice. It is so practical and sometimes not so obvious, even though it's obvious that we want to fuel our bodies and come rested. But then you walk away having really filled your cup and be able to then keep that cup full for months until the next time you get to come together. So thank you. That's the perfect advice. I couldn't even add anything more, but I could tell you stories for hours about how going to a conference has changed the trajectory of my career, my personal life. I'm married to the person that I met at in this case, the gym, but I know a lot of people who have met their mate for life being at a conference and then being inspired to hear something just a bit different, like you said, reading that chapter again, or watching that movie and learning something totally different. So, and then maybe the only piece I will say before we close, and I'm going to give that the second last word is, don't come alone, because it's really hard to share your experiences and even know how to take it all back and utilize it if you're alone. So either plan to meet somebody at the conference that you've met prior to, or you've desired to meet, perhaps, you contact them ahead of time, or bring your friend, bring your teammate, bring your team. So that would be my piece of advice for all of you, because it's so much fun. It's like when you go to a movie or a concert and you go with someone, it's like, wow, this is amazing. I can't believe I just met. oh my God, I didn't know I knew that, but I now know that I know. And now I know what to do with that. It's just, I could go on and on. I'll stop there. All right. So I'm going to close by inviting Yvette to share what you're working on now or what's coming, and how can people best learn how to connect with you and or work with you.
Well, I just decided it's been a little bit of a work in progress, but I'm officially planning out how I stop taking personal training clients for the first time in my career because I am stepping more fully into speaking and coaching. So I feel I'm in this place in my career where I truly feel like I can help people so much more with their mindset, even when it comes to fitness. Besides passing them a dumbbell and showing them form and technique, I'm at the place where I really want to go deep with people. And I do have a background in NLP, neuro linguistic programming, which I've had in my back pocket for over a decade now, and I use it on an everyday basis. But yeah, so starting in September, I'm going to be launching my coaching business, helping people around their mindset towards fitness, because I find a lot of people, they start doing the movements, they start doing the physical parts of the exercise because that's what they think they have to do. And if they don't address the mindset and the emotional aspects of transformation, and when your body starts to change, and if your mind doesn't, then you can find yourself back in the back at square one. So that's what I'm working on. And I am going to maintain my client base in the meantime and working on my public speaking, keynote speaking, corporate speaking, and team building workshops.
Oh, wow. Well, you are going to soar, my friend. Soar to the next level of success. That is also our theme for canfitpro Global. So wonderful, wonderful. And quickly let us know how best people can connect with you on social or elsewhere.
Sure. LinkedIn at Yvette Raposo, Instagram at Yvette Raposo, and my website, YvetteRaposo.com.
Well, that is very straightforward and practical. So thank you so much, Yvette. And I want to close by just saying very quickly that we're here to serve our purpose, and our passion is to help move you forward, elevate you, be in the ring with you, on your side, and serving you and helping you to live your true purpose, whatever that might be for you. Personal and professional development is really the way to go as far as the next step in that journey. And if you are desiring to soar higher, to seek the success that you deserve from the life journey you've had thus far, well, my piece of advice for you would be consider joining us at canfitpro Global this summer. And you can join us from anywhere in the world. You can come in person to Toronto for the week of, it's the August 7th through 10th, but the actual conference itself is August 9th and 10th at the Metro Toronto Convention Center. And you can join us online as well, if that's easiest for you. You can find out more information at www.canfitpro.com/events 2024/global. And until next time, continue to soar, my friends, and we will see you soon. Thank you, Yvette. Absolutely unbelievable. I'm so blessed to have you here today.